Hi, my name is Nacho, welcome back to my channel, and I won't go deep into detail. Shit happens, I too is temporarily down, comment F to pay respects. However, a faulty eyepiece is not gonna stop me from plunging headfirst into the dread that is watching the Acolyte and spinning around in its own goo to make it fun for you guys.
Don't tell me you'll miss me.
Ha! Gay!
I'm no hero, never was, never will be, but this is a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
For death and glory.
Now this episode was the final nail on the Acolyte's coffin. No matter what shit they pull in the finale, no one will care. At this point, this show is so bad, their own defenders are saying it sucks. Grace Randolph started saying that this was solid work, that this was a refreshing spin for Star Wars, but now she's singing a different tune.
That was embarrassing. It was real embarrassing. It was embarrassing for everybody in the show, embarrassing for everybody who makes the show, perhaps worst of all, embarrassing for all of us who have, up to this point, enjoyed the show, supported, and defended it.
She did keep on saying that she liked the other episodes, which is complete nonsense, since this entire thing is nothing more than pure uncut flaming shit. Other critics have also finally caught up and are saying stuff like the new settings and splashy visuals aren't enough to save this cringe-inducing story. Despite trying to do something different, the mediocrity is strong with this one, at least its first half. Not a good sign for season 2, right? Season 2. Literally, no one is watching this show right now. And understandably so. But it turns out that the people who are unfortunately still watching and are saying it's bad, more, are wrong. And we actually haven't been paying attention to Star Wars. According to none other than Alyssa Mercanti, the non-binary former OnlyFans cam whore turned activist journalist turned most hated women on Twitter for a while, that has a grasp on reality as thin as Amanda Stenberg acting range, who in her latest article is pretty much saying that the Jedi are actually bad for trying to take the girls, while she compares Saul to Qui-Gon Jinn, who took Anakin from his mother and left her to slavery. Quite a broad selection of events she chose to make her point without mentioning that this show is basically a carbon copy of Anakin's origin story with 2 black girls instead of 1 white boy. Anakin was saved from slavery at the request of his mother and was offered a potential better future. Qui-Gon Jinn had reasons to do this since he believed Anakin was meant to be the chosen one who would bring balance to the Force, which he kinda did, just not in the way they thought he would. Whatever intention the lesbian witches have with the girls is unknown, because I'm pretty sure not even Leslye Headland knows what it is. But from the rough shape of the story, May has trouble controlling her anger and jealousy, which would lead her to a path of darkness, and Osha likes dick too much, which would also probably land her on the dark side. The fact that they're identical beings only reinforces the fact that they're most likely to turn to the dark side, especially under the guidance of a zealot group like the witches, who according to them were being hunted to the corners of the galaxy, and judging by what we saw in this episode, if their intentions are so good and their powers not evil, why were they being hunted? Cause it can't be just because of the patriarchy. Regardless, I will elaborate on it in a second. Before we go into the episode, I just want to mention the talent behind Evil and Horny Rue, Amanda, who spoke her thoughts about the franchise, saying that Star Wars explores how politics engage with spirituality, and how spirituality can be corrupted by political systems and groups trying to enforce particular ideas on how the Force should be used. How ironic. But enough chatting about it. We begin this episode of one of the greatest sci-fi franchises in the history of cinema, with our supposed heroes, the mighty Jedi, searching for the Force in a field with metal detectors. This show cost $180 million, and they just painted the metal detectors grey and called it a day. No need to tune the props to make them look cool. No, that's not the point of this episode. It is to make the Jedi look evil. On the right is Carrie-Anne Moss, and on the left, Saul's Carrie-Anne Moss. Not my joke. I just thought it was very clever. And we get some info about the nature of this mission, how badly Torben wants to go home, and how this particular group of Jedi is a very emotional bunch. The group splits out, and in this massive, uninhabited planet, Saul runs into May and Osha in the tree, while randomly traveling through the forest. How convenient. A lot of this is just episode 3 from the Jedi's perspective, which doesn't quite make it any better. Saul follows the girls and breaks into the lesbian stronghold, and it's funny how someone mentioned that these witches are chanting and worshipping a hole in the ground. He senses that they are in danger and reports back to Trinity asking her help to save the girls. And it pains me to say, but this was a rough scene for Lee Jung-jae. The dialogue just didn't work with his English and made it sound very awkward, which in a way affected everyone's performance, including Carrie-Anne Moss.
I feel for the girls' safety. The witches prepare for a ceremony tonight. What if the girls are in danger? Indara, come with me. See what I have seen.
But she agrees to go check on the witches, and I found this next bit extremely funny. Trinity orders the Wookiee to lockpick the entrance and then turns to Sol and Torvin and says, "I'll go alone, cause if we go as a group, they might take it as a threat." "No, Trinity, they'll take it as a threat, cause you're breaking an N-ring. It doesn't matter if 1 or 10 of you go in. Why didn't you just knock?"
There are over 50 of them.
50 women.
Yeah, you're right, Trinity. Nothing to be worried about. 1 of you will do. But they get in and they get that warm reception from the lesbian witches, including an extended cut of the mind control Mother Witch does on Torvin, offering him whatever he wants if he asks for her help. That kinda sounds like the dark side of the Force. And the dialogue of this show never ceases to amaze me, because it constantly contradicts itself within the same sentence. I.e., you cannot deny the Jedi have the right to test potential Padawans, with your permission, of course. If she cannot deny you the right, why do you need her permission? They get back into the ship and Sol explains why he wants Osha to be his Padawan, and Trinity warns him not to confuse what the kids want with what he wants. Fast forward a little bit and the kids showed up to the test. May, fails it on purpose, explains the sinister nature of the Ascension ritual, and then Osha comes in, and after a little chat with Sol, she passes the test. This leads Trinity to send a message to the Jedi Council asking for instructions, meaning there is now a record of 2 Force-sensitive children within a covenant of lesbian Force-wielding witches within a planet that was thought to be uninhabited. Yet no one seems to remember or make a note of this for the next 100 years. But the council responds by denying the request to bring the children in. So, job done. Let's get out of here, right? We'll see how we proceed after this. Sadly, that's not what happens. Sol gets pretty agitated with this response and kinda freaks out on Indara, saying that he senses danger. Which is kinda hilarious given that throughout this entire show, he hasn't felt most things when he needed to. And it's strange how often these Jedi lose their temper and give in to emotion, which is the opposite of what the Jedi are trained to do.
Do not alter this little girl's destiny because you have formed an emotional attachment to her.
That is not what's happening here.
Are you sure about that? And we can see that in the next scene when Torvin confirms that the 2 girls are effectively Force clones and what they came to Brando for. He sees an opportunity to be sent back to Coruscant, bringing them as a result of their quest, so he jumps on a very poorly CGI speedster, completely ignoring the orders of his master, and goes to the Covenant to fetch the girls. Back in the Covenant, Mother Witch tells Osha that it's okay, that she can go with the Jedi if that's what she wants, and that she will love her no matter what. Very touching moment. Keep that in mind for later. On the other hand, the Russian mom is winding up May, telling her to get mad at the Jedi, cause that will surely end well.
It's not her decision to make.
But is it ours? You cannot allow.
What is that? What the fuck is that? Who brought Doris to the set? Yo, girl, chill. It's like 4 Jedi. It's not like you're getting sieged.
No one can get in or out.
Witches, arm yourselves!
Like a Yoda thing or what?
Oh, no, it's just this thing I do to remember people's names.
Natalie.
So with the door disabled, Sol and Torvin climb the wall to get into the keep. And we cut to May lighting a fire in a mostly made of stone stronghold.
I told you we cannot use violence.
And I told you I would die before I let the Jedi take my children.
Well, we're definitely gonna do one of those things. The Jedi walk to the middle of the plaza, making themselves a very easy target, and they question the lesbians about where the twins came from. This is a very tense situation. Everyone's hand is on the trigger. I would call it a Mexican standoff, but because there are not enough Mexicans in this show, I don't feel represented. Fuck him, this show is racist. But I digress. Tense moment, right? Everyone's on edge. When May comes in crying for help because she just lighted the stone walls on fire. Russian mom pulls guard, Torvin ignites his lightsaber, and Black Mom has no better idea to stop all of this than to turn herself into a ghastly looking wraith with black eyes, spiked teeth, disappearing into an eerie mist, and May starts to look like she's disintegrating as well. Seeing this horrifying image, Sol pulls his lightsaber and stabs the demon that, despite the fact that she was turning immaterial, materializes back around the lightsaber. Pretty dumb thing to do, isn't it? But as she dies, she looks at Sol and says that she was gonna let Osha go with them, completely shifting the situation and making it look like Sol is in the wrong here. Look at that thing! If this was in Star Wars, I'd call a fucking exorcist. Why didn't you just open with that then? Why did you say that they made a mistake coming back, being all aggro and shit, and letting your wife threaten them if they come closer? Say it with me. Stand down, horns. Look, I'm gonna let Osha go with you, alright? Just leave us alone. There it is. Problem solved. But you didn't do that, didn't you? Now everyone's gonna fucking die.
May.
No. But now the Jedi are the bad guys, and the triggered lesbians start attacking them. And this fight is ridiculous. Sol is not fighting back because he feels bad, and yet the lesbian mom can't do anything to him because
50 women.
they are women. And the archers who are shooting at Torben don't know how a volley works because they are shooting at him at a rate slow enough he can juggle his lightsaber in between blocks. Props to Dean Charles Chapman though, because that lightsaber juggling was top notch, and I'm sorry that your agent hates you so much that they put you up for this show. The stone structures continue to be ravaged by the fire because we know how effective fire is against stone when Russian mom turns herself into a mist and Kelnaka appears over the hill. But something is off. He's being mind controlled by the rest of the lesbians to kill his friends. Totally not evil, these witches. And this is also very funny. Kelnaka starts wiping the floor with the other two, and look at Torben's face. He's on the ground, not damaged, right? He gets force pulled. He's pushed against the wall, and boom! Left side of his face slashed down. When? There's like a split second between those two scenes, and that happened. My guess is a lot of shit was cut down from these fights cause they looked even more shit. Torben gets KO'd, and before Kelnaka kills Sol, Trinity steps in and mind controls the witches out from the Wookiee's head. And they just die. What? Why? The witches died from doing witchcraft. The building, carved into the stone, continues to be destroyed by the fire when Sol runs into the twins in a collapsing bridge and uses the force to hold it from falling, but he begins to struggle. The structure is too heavy. But you know what's not heavy? The two girls that are standing on top of it. Force pull them. He, however, doesn't do this. He focuses on holding Osha's side, letting May fall, and my question is, how did he tell them apart? Because he confused May with Osha in the previous scene. Despite the fact that they look completely different, it could be though that they are constantly screaming each other's names instead of backing off from the falling fucking bridge. But we're back at the ship when we see Torben's modeling days are over now, and Trinity is chewing their asses for disobeying orders, rightfully so. They both let their emotions take the best of them, completely going against the Jedi code. Trinity then says that they will lie to the council about what happened, completely covering up the entire fuck up they just did. Well, that Sol did, because he thought that May was meant to be his Padawan, thus starting the domino effect that will lead to all of them being dead. Now, I'll have you remember that Torben went from this to becoming a Jedi Master in 6 years, then doing a vow of silence for 10, to then killing himself because he felt bad about what happened this day. However, he did nothing wrong. He didn't kill the witches. In fact, he didn't kill anybody. They tried to kill them. He was entirely justified to defend himself. So, why did he kill himself? Plus, when they arrive at Coruscant and have to debrief with the council, what is he gonna say? Oh shit, Torps, what happened to your face?
I fell.
I don't know, man, that looks like Wookiee claws.
I said I fell.
One mind read, and this whole cover-up goes tits up. It's easy to understand why this is the episode that not even the Wookiees can defend. It's boring. The dialogue is stone stiff, which is weak to fire, by the way. The fighting is bad. Small situations get escalated just for the sake of spectacle, and it's set in a way to make the Jedi look evil, and the covenant of lesbian witches who turn themselves into wraiths and mind control people into killing each other would be the victims. There is no grey area here. Both parties are in the wrong because the creators of this don't know how to write tension in a story. There's a whole interview where Leslye goes into why this is not a retcon of Anakin's story, how the girls are not as powerful as him, and how they are just guinea pigs for this sort of forced experiments, which is bullshit. Out of all the stories in Star Wars and the extended universe she could have chose from, she went straight for the one that most people would recognize and twisted it in a way to fit her bullshit agenda and gave us a worse version of it where everyone is diverse and queer.
Considerable margin and
Why would anyone find it strange that a second season has not yet been greenlit? The ratings of this are abysmal. It cost twice as much as Ahsoka and it's pulling half the numbers. The critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are falling, and if your best defender is Alyssa Mercanti, holy shit, the future of your show looks grim as fuck. This entire show is a smear campaign from Leslye Headland, Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, to set the Jedi as an institution full of idiots who are so cocky that they will fall from their own hubris. Leslye Headland says that she likes immoral characters and finding humanity within the villains. She said herself, this show is being told from the perspective of the evil people, and it's very clear that she means herself. But if you watch this far into the video, leave us a like. Word of advice, do not eat ass after taking your date to Taco Bell. And as always, I've been Nacho, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.